Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue en Pendu dans le Cercle de Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you surely know that this is my series in which I use Terre de Marseille adjacent or antique Italian decks to help me explore a question or to find a central message that I can pull from my larger weekly spread. And I've done my larger weekly spread already. I've read it, I've filmed the video, and it's a 15 card spread and it was very interesting. If you haven't seen that video yet, I highly recommend you go and watch that first and then come back and watch this. So you have the context, the foundation from which you can read this spread along with me. Now, because this spread answers the question, what is the central message of this week's 15 card spread? So I'll put a link up here for you to hop on over and check out that video and then pop on back over here. Now, if you have watched that video, and maybe you've watched it in pieces because it's a little long, and it's really okay for you to watch those longer videos in bits and pieces, but maybe you want a quick refresher. Yeah, I saw it, but what was it about? I don't clearly remember. So let me give you the Cliff Notes version of that spread. We started off with what I believe to be disappointment. Now, we started off with disappointment and the work that we might want to do around that disappointment. And we had two possible courses we might want to take. One is one in which we do some actual work and we do some healing of our greed. The other path was one in which we move in the direction of the Hanged One, which maybe you already know, that's one of my favorite cards of the deck. Yeah, I'm the Hanged Man in the Moon. So we move in the direction of that new perspective, the submersion of self in the liquid of the water of the Hanged Man, so that we can fertilize the ground, our territory, and we can get a new perspective, and we can let the old die, and we can move on with the new. And then there were things around that. And then there were challenges of the High Priestess, like a challenge in the sense of something we want to strive for, to move in the direction of. Yeah, we want to challenge ourselves to become the High Priestess or to receive the wisdom of the High Priestess. And then we have some very, very complex divine assistance as well. Now, based on the sevens of discs and sevens of swords and the different ways of reading those two cards. So we had a very complex, somewhat intention assistance from the divine. It wasn't like yeah, just do this. It was a very nuanced and a set of cards that asked for our mindful awareness, if that rings any bells for you. So we looked at that spread. Now we're looking for a central, clear message from that, something maybe easier to digest. So, friends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the question I ask every week these days, and then I'll show you the cards that came out in response to that question, and then we'll do the reading. Are you up for that? Here we go. What do you think of this deck? Do you have this deck? Do you know of this deck? It's a mass market deck, and it's readily available. It's called the Vintage Tarot. So I'll put a link to the Amazon page for this deck if you want to check it out in the description box below, because it really is easy to get. And I think it's an interesting deck. It's based on the Conver deck. The colors are nice. And well, what did you think of the colors? What did you think of this deck? Did you like the aging, the staining of the cards? The cardstock is really easy to shuffle. This is what the back of the cards look like. It's just a nice little deck. It's a nice workhorse kind of deck. Yeah, so I recommend it. And you saw from left to right, we had the Ace of Wands, the Strength card, then we had the King of Wands, and then the Cups. So we got a bunch of fire here. And you know that I'm reading these with elemental dignities, right? So the cup card, the Knight of Cups, is ill-dignified in this spread. Now, the King of Wands and the Knight of Cups are in a little bit of a standoff. They're not comfortable, they're not happy together. And we'll get into that in a little bit. And you saw that the spread was pretty fire heavy, right? 2 fire, 1 cup. And then we also had an oracle card. Yes, I am reading with oracle cards now, and the oracle card for this spread was the mandrake, which is a root, right? A root often used by those who do herbal magic. And we'll get to that later. But we'll start off with the 4 tarot cards. And I'll set my oracle card here off to the side so it doesn't go flying into outer space like it did last time. We start off with, now, okay, why is it 4 cards? Are you asking yourself that? Did you already ask yourself that? I tend to try to go for a 3-card spread plus 1 oracle card for this series. So I laid out the Ace of Wands, and then the Force card, La Force, the Strength card, and then the King of Wands. And you notice that the Strength card and the King of Wands are all facing off to the right. So it made me wonder, what are they looking at? What are they staring at so intently? So I pulled the 4th card, and the 4th card was the Knight of Cups. And you notice that the Knight of Cups was riding in the direction of those 2 wands and flanking the Strength card. So I thought this is a really interesting spread. Very interesting spread. So let's start off with so I'm going to read this from left to right. It seems like a no-brainer. Yeah? And there are a couple of ways I think that this can be approached. One of them being the Force card, the Strength card, being the center of the set of 3 facing this way, and then the standalone cup facing this way. And I think that's the way, okay, changed my mind. I was going to start with the Ace of Wands. I decided, let's start with the Strength card. Let's move in with her right off the bat. Not because she is the only major arcana here, but because she is, I think that she indicates the title of this video. Beautiful card. Now we got the lady with the hat shaped with like a lemniscate. She's holding open the mouth of a lion, and that lion looks not uncomfortable with that kind of attention, right? The lion actually looks like he or she is very happy, having his or her mouth opened by this lovely lady standing over him or her. And we can also see the little foot. Can you see the foot of the Strength lady down here at the bottom? It's gold, the same color as the inner inside of her dress, but there is a foot down there. Can you see that? So who is Strength? Well, strength, it could be strength, actual physical strength. It could be courage and bravery, inner strength, right? It could be instinct. Now that lion that is within, instinct, instinctual power and confidence. That leonine confidence could be here as well. It could be nobility of heart. Now lions are also often symbols of the noble heart, le Cercle de Lune, of the French courtly symbolism. It could be self-discipline, right? This lady, the human, has that lion pretty well tamed, self-discipline. It could be relations between mind and instinct, spirit and body. It could be any of those interactions and interrelationships that we experience here, having these human experiences of so we are here as our eternal natures having a human experience. right? And that can be indicated by this as well. That comfortable, well interrelating integration of both the eternal nature and the physically human nature, of the conscious and the unconscious, of the superconscious and the libido. Everything's all in alignment, right? So it's bringing together aspects of self. So we could ask, what is this lady bringing together? And maybe this lady is bringing together the Ace of Wands and the King of Wands. Does that make sense? So I would say in the lower aspect, because the aces are the bottom of the ranking, right? The lower aspect, that which is being managed or worked with or disciplined is the Ace of Wands, new creation, new areas of creativity. Now I see this beautiful wand bursting with energy being held by the hand. The divine hand, maybe the divine hand is offering this beautiful wand of potential power and energy to us. Or maybe that's our hand grasping it. New desires, creative inspiration, potential vital energy is here available to us. Our strength and our sexual potency is right here. Very similar to that lion, right? You see the connections there. The creativity, the sexual potency, the new desires, the creative inspiration from within, from that inner libido in the sense of Jungian libido rather than the only sexual libido of Freud. Lovely, lovely, lovely thing to begin with. I'm sorry, this is the lovely, lovely thing to begin with. And what's on top? What are the qualities of the lady herself? Well, I think she is the King of Wands. And remember, we are all kings, we're all queens, we're all knights, we're all pages. Has no determination, no matter what our bodies are. Whether we are in male bodies, we're in female bodies, trans bodies, cis bodies, intersex bodies, whatever. Doesn't matter the body, we have all of the court within us. And so does the strength lady have all of the court within her. And so, right now, she is being the King of Wands, who is a big picture leader and overcomes challenges. The king masters energy. The king is vital, creative, sexual, but managed. The king manages all of those things. The king has power. The king has power. And is also a sincere lover or warrior. Lover in the sense of, I think, sexual activity lover. But lover, yes. And this is the one who is in charge of, or who is in relation with, and is managing and is implementing this. Just as the strength lady is doing the same thing with the lion. King of Wands, wand. Strength lady, lion. Do you like my new name for the card? This is the strength lady. Sorry. Goofy, I know, and perhaps inappropriate, but still. That's what I see from those three cards. So we've got those three cards facing off with or facing this beautiful guy. This guy, of course, being both male, female, trans, cis, intersex, all of that, non-binary, all of that. The Knight of Cups, holding a beautiful, very open cup in his or their hand, on top of a relatively small horse, right? That poor horse, feel a little bit sorry for that horse having that large knight on the back. So what is this knight doing? This knight is following the heart rather than the fire within. It's following the heart within. The knight is the idealist, the romantic, the one who comes a courtin or goes a courtin. The knight is open, sincere, has a simple heart. Not simple in the sense of stupid, but simple in the sense of pure, I think. A pure heart. This is love in action, bringing love out into the world as well. It could be missionary work. It could be humanitarian undertakings. It could be bringing the heart out into the world and working with that, sharing the heart with the world. Good actions. And it could be sincere love, which is different from the, where are we? The King of Wands, with his libido a little bit under control, being the sincere lover, facing off with the sincere romantic love. So there's a tension between these two. So what is that telling us? We have a tension between our hearts, what our heart desires, what we want, the love that we want to share, and our creative, passionate selves that want to create or procreate in the world. Maybe. And maybe it's in that tension that our disappointment is born, perhaps. But let's look at the oracle card and see if we get a little help from that. Okay, I'll set these down so they don't go flying and hold up this interesting looking mandrake card. You see, the mandrake is a root that looks like a human being to some people. Similar actually to the ginseng root in Asia, especially Korea, but also China. I'm saying that because I am in Korea and I am more of a Koreaphile than a Sinophile, but mandrake root. There are some similarities between this and the ginseng root. Interesting, because the ginseng root is 99.9% medicinal, healthful. Now, for someone with high blood pressure, it can be dangerous because the ginseng root can elevate blood pressure and body temperature. However, the mandrake root, what is that? The mandrake root is associated with darker things. Yeah, when yanked violently from the muddy home, the mandrake stands ready and causes mischief for such an offense. Yeah, so ripping out the mandrake from its earthy home causes it to want to get exact revenge on the person pulling it out. Although the enchanted plant can be used as an ingredient in medicinal concoctions, it can be medicinal. One must beware, for the demon unleashed, it can also be very toxic. Much more toxic than the ginseng root, I believe. You have to use the mandrake root in very small proportions. Medicinal poisons, maybe, yeah? Whereas the ginseng root, you can boil and just eat it, which is what we do in Korea. Actually, you can eat it raw, which is also something we do in Korea. The toxic, the dangerous or toxic part of the plant is not very toxic. Even for somebody with an elevated blood pressure or with perhaps even a fever, eating a little bit of ginseng is not going to kill them. It might cause discomfort. And it could push someone over the edge who is about to have a heart attack, perhaps, but the mandrake root is actual, from my knowledge, poison. And some poisons, when used in, what do we call it, in homeopathic amounts, are medicinal. So what does this mean? According to the guidebook for this deck, it's masculinity. Very masculine spread above. I mean, the strength lady, right, presents female, but the strength lady in this spread had a lot of male energy in her, right? The King of Wands and the Ace of Wands looking very phallic. So there's a masculinity here. There's potent fertility. Again, Ace of Wands, King of Wands. There's a potential for sadistic personality traits to emerge here as well. Could also be hallucinations and sedation, like being sedated, sedation. Insanity is possible. But also being unrooted from comforts. A cry for help. Something obtained by physical effort. And maybe a potential fatal mistake. So I think that what is this saying to us? This reminds me a little bit of the divine help that was presented to us at the end of the spread. There were 2 sevens, 1 7 of coins, 1 7 of swords that are in conflict, elementally in conflict. And there are different ways of reading both of those cards. The 7 of coins in the Thoth deck is a very negative card of failure, of defeat, of things going to ruin. Whereas the 7 of coins by the actual creator of the deck was more in line with the Smith-Waite deck of waiting, being patient, cultivating. There are different ways of reading that, just as there are different ways of reading the 7 of Swords, where the 7 of Swords can be using cunning and mischief to get what you want, or going your own path and cutting your own trail. So I think this is a card of reminding us of a potential mistake, of crop burning and trying to steal to compensate for that. Or being uprooted from comforts, which the whole spread was basically pointing towards. Starting off with disappointment and moving on from there. And the way to move on from there, again, reading this from the more positive sense rather than hallucinations and sedation and insanity and sadistic personalities. Now we could read it from the sense of potent fertility. From the sense of perhaps a cry for help can be added to the positive. Yeah? We have potent fertility here. We ask for help, and we might be able to create through our work in the world, if used properly. If that libido, that masculinity is used properly, we can create in the world, have results from our work in the world. And the way to do that is by bringing together both the fire aspects of self and the water aspects of self, which do face off elementally. But if we can manage it, we have great creative, lovingly creative potential. Does that make sense? Does that scan for you? I mean, it cuts out a lot of information from the larger spread, but I think it cuts to the heart of the suggestion, the help, the divine message, the divine assistance being pointed towards. Particularly with this card added into the mix. Do you agree? If you do, let me know in the comments below. If you don't, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? What does this reading mean to you? Especially in relationship to the larger spread of the week. Do you see something different that I'm missing? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And friends, please hit that thumbs up button so that, well, it helps the channel. It really does. It draws eyes to the channel. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. My video schedule is right now, I'm going to keep on doing one a week, but my schedule is not stable yet. Things are in transition to the new semester, and once the new semester gets going, I think I know when I'll be able to do this filming and when I'll be able to do the uploading, so it'll get more stable after that. But in this transition time, having those alarm bells might help. Oh, and if you want a reading from me, my email address is below, thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Shoot me a reading, tell me what you want to talk about, and we'll work out a way to get you a reading from me. And I'd love to do that for you. So friends, thank you. Thank you for joining me on this journey. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.